right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the workshop of the Board of County Commissioners. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing on our agenda is our Region 9 fiber update, and we have Shak and Laura here, so come on down, get the mic as close as you can, turn it on, and it is yours.
Mine works. While she's working on that, I'm glad to see everybody survived the legislative season.
Well,
Congratulate, 1 week,
w-
1
w-
week, but you're almost
Don't say
there.
that yet.
Yeah,
You're almost there.
yeah.
Almost
Crazy
there.
train just arrived at the station.
Just 700 new rules to learn before July, and you'll be good to go.
So since we're talking about that, I have to give you one more tidbit. So I talked to a state legislator in Hawaii last week, and Perry Will, commissioner from Garfield County, and I were talking to her, and we were talking about the craziness. And we said, well, our state's so bad, we're gonna have like 700 and some bills. And she looked at us like, try 3,600. And I'm like, what? And then she went off onto a spin of, I was like, so I feel very fortunate at this point in time that we're,
I've got 2 off-topic ideas for you. One would be to have a representative run a bill asking all departments to bring forward everything that they think is unnecessary in state departments, and then repeal it all in one shot, and then change the way legislation is done to, if somebody needs to address something, they call together the assembly, deal with that item, instead of everybody getting 5 bills to run no matter what. Just a proposal. You guys think about it. You don't need to answer right now.
Well, it's 5 bills to sponsor and unlimited co-sponsor.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So, anyways, those are my ideas. If any of you run for
I've got
state office, you can
I've got a
climb
better
the
issue, is if you run one bill, you take away 5.
Amen. Amen.
Because that would be so easy to do that are irrelevant or just not sustainable or even applicable. Anyway, sorry.
No.
I better get back focused, or we're gonna,
Blame Shaq.
we will run them up.
Getting us
So,
off
Yeah,
track.
Shaq.
squirrel. Do you want me to share my screen, or do you want to go through, or?
Oh, you'll just have to tell me which one, otherwise you have to.
We
go
don't
there.
have anything on
Okay.
broadband, but so
Okay,
that's more.
well, that's their discussion. Let's start with the Montezuma County ROI presentation, please, and thank you.
That one.
ROI.
Yeah, that
No,
one.
no,
The
that's
PowerPoint,
the PowerPoint.
yeah.
All right, thank you. I will apologize for not facing you all while I'm speaking to you, but that's a screen I can see. So we did quickly want to go over the return on investment that Montezuma County sees for its membership dues. You'll see that this is looking back at 2025, but when we get to the final screen, I'll give you a review of 22 through 24 as well. So Montezuma County, as the unincorporated county, has seen for last year 987 times their investment. The town of Dolores was 89 times, and then Courthouse was 10x. I do need to note that not every community shows a return every year. Unfortunately, last year was one of those years for the town of Mancos. Next slide, please.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So I guess I just quickly went over that on the cover slide, but your membership dues for 25 were $14,000, and as a result of that, you got 13.9 million back. And I do want to caveat, especially for those listening on YouTube, that Those include indirect returns on investment. We didn't hand the county a check for $13.9 million, but that's to the residents of Montezuma County, and we'll explain how that is. And I also want to acknowledge that there are some very large broadband grants the last several years that we don't necessarily see that kind of return every year. So just keep in mind that the extreme return from broadband is a little bit of an outlier. Next screen, please. So again, like I said, the broadband awards were $11.6 million. Again, those are outliers, and I want to call that out. While we'd love to say we bring that much into the community every year, those huge BEAD type projects just don't come around every year. So with broadband, you saw a return of 987.9 times, without it 160.8. Still a pretty good ROI. How many of your Edward Jones investors are doing that well for you? All right, next slide, please. For the city of Cortez, they had a 10x return, mostly in the form of business loans. Next slide, I think, will be the town of Dolores. Dolores, again, with business loans. I'm probably regressing. I called out the broadband. The biggest majority of the non-broadband funds were Southwest Opioid Response District funds, and then enterprise zone credits for your business owners. So those were huge in Montezuma County. And then finally, this slide. So this is a look at your returns from 2022 to 2024. Again, for your YouTube audience, this isn't going into the county general fund. These are returns to the residents of the county in terms of business loans, enterprise zone credits, and grants that have been brought to the area. So we did just want to go through that real quick. We're going through with all of the communities, showing them what they're getting for their membership dues. And then I think next, Laura is going to transition to the community performance report.
Yes,
Okay.
and it looks like I may have sent it where it might have comments, and I apologize. So you were in the right, the one prior to this was correct. That one, yes. So what we try to do is provide an overview for each county of what we specifically did that benefited their county. A lot of our work is obviously regional, so we're doing a lot of projects that involve more than one county, broadband being a good example. But we try to break down what's specific to the county. And as a government and a nonprofit, so we're a council of governments and an economic development district, the list on page 1 that you see here is the representatives that serve on our various boards. So Kent Lindsay and Jim Candelaria serve on our board of directors for both Region 9 and the COG. We have kind of merged those so that we don't have to, have separate meetings, more time. And then you'll see City of Cortez, Dolores Mancas, also on our loan committee. We do have representatives from each county. I'm not going to read this to you, but what I did give you, that corporate annual report, is kind of like our marketing piece. This is more specific to your county. And then if I can have you go to page 2, you'll see the 2 charts. One is the ROI that Shak just went over for each county. That was specific to the 22 through 25. We have just started measuring our ROI, so it's not an inexact science, but we're trying to look at what money are we specifically through our programs bringing into each county, each community. And then you'll see at the bottom that table shows the inquiries that we actually get into our office and what community that they are and what program. So we have a business loan fund. We do a lot of data. We run the enterprise zone tax credit program. we have a grant navigator, and then we get general inquiries. And we were tracking opportunity zones just to kind of see. We were not getting a lot on that, but that's picked up in '26 just because of the new boundaries that they're going to be establishing, and we are advocating. There are 2 census tract areas in Montezuma that are eligible for opportunity zones, and the state process, they have to pick 25% of the eligible areas. So we're looking at those to see which ones we really want to advocate, and we're working with our economic development folks kind of throughout the region, because obviously we don't want to advocate for something that's maybe all public lands, you know, where we can't really leverage that. So we just got the census tracts, but we don't have a map yet, and we haven't done anything. That process starts in July. On the next page, just kind of going through some of this, the only thing I want to point out is in the middle is our loan activity for 2025. And then at the bottom of the page, you'll see a list of our current loan clients. We're allowed to, you know, it's public information of who we give loans to, which are primarily startup businesses that are not yet bankable because they don't have, you know, the history. But we can't tell you how they're doing. How's that? And then on that next page, there's a chart, and that's enterprise zone tax credits. So these are, you can see Montezuma, we had 127 businesses that actually claimed enterprise zone tax credits, and it says the total amount of the tax credits and the number, the investment numbers that they claimed when they claimed those credits, and the jobs they said they created. Montezuma always really does better than any other county. One reason is the whole county is always eligible. Some of the counties, not the entire geographic area, is even eligible. And that would be the case for La Plata. And then obviously just population. But I did want to point that out. And then at the very bottom, you see the list of contribution projects. Those are nonprofit projects that can provide tax credits to their donors. So you can see some of those amounts for those specific projects. They have to be improving economic conditions in their area. So they have to be approved by a state process. And then the next page, just a couple other highlights you'll see in those bullets. The top bullets are basically our community grant writer. We have someone on staff that works with grants. We were trying to make sure all of the ARPA money and such that was coming down, we want it in our area, not Denver. So we were trying to assist communities in their grant writing, grant research, grant editing. So these are some that you can see here. And then, of course, we mentioned SWORD. We're kind of overseeing the opioid settlement dollars in the region. And there's been some community grants that they have put out to help build kind of the ecosystem around substance use and improving outcomes. That just was pretty new last year, and we're looking to build that. I won't go into anything else on that, but just if you have any questions, please let us know, and we're continuing to do that every year. What do you think?
One question, the opportunity zone, I know that the enterprise zone is basically all in Montezuma County, but is that still just Dolores? It's a lot smaller, right? And then the tribal grounds?
Right now, it is just the tribe, whatever census
Just
tract
so just the
includes
tribe, okay.
And they were approved, and that will still be in place through 2028. But in the way the federal government has redesigned opportunity zones, they're going to be set for 10 years, kind of like enterprise
Yeah.
zones, and you have to leverage capital gains. But they're designated on a federal level in terms of eligibility,
So
and I don't know all
so it's
that.
just a tribe now?
Right
for the
now, it's just the
opportunity
tribe,
zone.
but we have 2 other census tracts that could be eligible, and I don't have that information yet. There's a meeting this month, and then they're going to start that process.
Okay.
And I'm happy to keep you guys updated.
Or forward you an extra meeting
Yeah.
Do that too.
One more?
Oh, yeah.
I've got 2 volunteers in the back that if they don't pass the test, they will.
So we have 2 other items, I think, on the agenda. One is the community development action plans, and then we wanted to talk broadband. I know. I guess I'll start with this, if that's all right. So this is just a fact sheet about community development action plans. I believe most of you have been engaged in this process in the past. So every 5 years, and this is the year, we have to update our regional economic strategy. And that's basically looking at what are the priorities for our region around economic development. 5 years ago, it was the opioid crisis, substance misuse, getting, folks back into the workforce. It was housing, it was broadband, it was tourism, diversification of tourism, more related to outdoor recreation, and I can't remember the fifth one. Infrastructure, like broader infrastructure like water, sewer, I believe. So we are looking at just kind of asking your general opinion of what you think your top 5 issues are, because we're working with all of our communities. But then part of this whole plan is this piece. And basically, we do a list of projects that are either going to be started or completed in a 2-year cycle. And the reason for this is we're kind of a keeper of these projects. So as you apply for grant funds, a lot of federal funding in particular says, are you part of a community plan? Has this been prioritized by your community? And this is basically the yes, it has. And so this is an overview of some of the areas that we look at. If you scroll down, it just talks about the 2-year cycle, the guidelines for getting a project on this list. Again, it is started or completed within 2 years, and you as the commissioners approve this plan. And we will bring you a more final version. I just wanted to kind of introduce it today. We did lose our economic development staff person, and so Shak and I are kind of picking that up and are working on this plan and the updates. What we've done right now, and I believe it might be connected to this, it's kind of a matrix or a grid.
I think you sent the Excel sheet separately.
Okay, yeah, it is. Thank you. So this is, and it's not user-friendly, but what I wanted to just show you was this is basically the plan that Heather Otter had kind of put together that the commissioners approved. Anything in red, we're starting to change. We're adjusting it to the statewide SEDS alignment rather than it was the blueprint rural resiliency plan, or, we have to kind of align it with whatever the state decides, and that changes per governor. And then the funding priorities, we're also looking at project readiness and getting rid of a couple of the columns, of jobs and costs, because so many of these projects, we don't know what those are. We just want to know project readiness, meaning you already have money allocated, or there's grants, or what have you. And then we would add the job piece into this description. So this is a really high-level chart. And this last column that says notes is basically what we're doing now is we have provided those to our governments and anyone who has a project on there to update it before we bring it to you. So, for example, Cortez had their RAISE grant that they're no longer doing, so that'll come off. So we're kind of looking at what needs to come off, either it's completed or it's no longer relevant. What do we need to continue and update? So, for example, Paths to Mesa Verde is on here, so that's continuing, but we probably need to update what it's going to look like in the next 2 years. And then as the county, you rank these projects based on the county. So the town of Mancos may have 5 or 6 projects. We're asking that you don't throw them out, but you can rank them as low if as a county these are not county priorities. Because they usually put those on because they're applying for grant funding or they need it also on the community plan. So this is basically what is in place, and we're starting with the feedback with City of Cortez, Town of Dolores, and then there are some public lands projects on here. Norwood Road, I don't know what you want to do with that one. So we want either you to look at this individually, send us comments, but we'll bring you something that's a lot more vetted that you can actually go through and kind of fine-tune rather than have to create it.
I would add, when you're assigning priorities, think about what that means, because we work for you, and that's gonna be our marching orders. And so if you say something's a high priority, as you did previously, like broadband, and then we find ways to get it done, we're gonna show up and say, there's this available, and by the way, the match is X amount, and, you know, is it really a high priority where you're willing to contribute to it? So, one thing to go into your judgment as you evaluate.
And if you can move it more to the left where it has, yeah, the actual priorities. You know, we talk about partners, but the categories, agriculture, some of the projects are a little general on this, and some are placeholders because we know we want to focus on an area, but we don't have a specific project. I know the water sewer, everybody I've talked to, it's water sewer upgrades, you know, aging infrastructure, I mean, Dove Creek, things like that. Pueblo Community College had a project on there. We're gonna go back and be like, is this relevant? What do you need to update? So, and obviously the hospital. So we will do the background work, but we're asking you to identify new project priorities that you have as a commission. If there's some that have fallen off, we'll remove them.
So the last time we did this with Heather, I think we did a night meeting, didn't we? Or
We did, yeah.
it was an afternoon, night meeting,
Mhm.
kind of like forever. Is that what you're asking us to do, or just to individually go through them, identify them collectively between the three of us, and then get them to you? Or are we going to do that kind of a process again?
We can do whatever you want. This I don't want you to start looking at because we don't have the feedback from the
Right.
other communities yet. So we want to get that and then bring it back to you, and we can do more of a workshop.
I would say step one is give us your general feedback, and then
Okay.
when we've got the community information from your 3 municipalities, then we can go through and workshop it. And we can do it at night, especially if the county provides dinner.
Or whatever you
Well,
like.
it just, I mean, it went into the night because we went through the whole thing. It took a long time.
Correct.
Took a
And-
long time. And obviously for us, I mean, probably one of the biggest things is always going to be the infrastructure for us is going to be the transportation, the roads, bridges, yada, yada, yada. But Paso Mesa Verde is still a priority. We're still working on that.
There was,
Methane collection systems for landfills, thanks to new regulations.
But
What
so-
regulation? I mean, that's an unfunded mandate. We don't have.
and so we want to bring it to you more fully vetted, and we're behind the 8
Okay.
ball because of the staff change. So it's more just a heads up of this is
Okay.
our plan. But if you have priorities or you look through it and you know right away something that should stay on or come off, you can give me that high level info. Email's fine, you know, whatever. I will follow up with Mr. Anderson and kind of see
Okay.
what we need to do. There was one, it was a gun range. I think it was outdoor gun range. I was looking at that. I don't know if that's still a priority or not.
I think it was a BLM priority, and as far as
It-
removing it from Phil's World area to somewhere
Right, but
else.
they just reestablished the contract, so they now have a new contract at the gun range. It's still not the 1,000-yard, right? 1,000-yard
It's
gun
not
range,
1,000
so
yards.
I think it's now probably moved to lower on the priority, but that was because we felt that the state was going to basically kick them out of there, all the way out of there. But I think that's been resolved at this point in time.
And again, it's starting or stopping, you know, completed within 2 years. So we're really trying to make sure, we have a lot of nonprofits that want their capital campaign projects on there. For example, in Archuleta County, they're doing a food hub, commercial kitchen that they want on, which is great. But we're not sure if they're ready to even have it on the list yet, you know, so just trying to make sure it just doesn't become a laundry list of things that aren't really going to move forward. So do you have any questions on that? This is more your introduction, and you can see things and mark them up and just let us know.
You have a deadline?
We have to have this done by September 30th, so we're gonna
Okay.
be back probably July. We have to do public comment for 30 days.
That'll give us time to kind of look it over individually and then bring it
Yeah.
forward.
Okay,
And that'll
'Cause some of
give
this
us
stuff
time
I'm
to
sure
go to
will have dropped off.
municipalities.
yeah. And then at the bottom, I just have sort of a whole placeholder for new projects. You know, there's probably something that's come up.
did want to let you know too, commissioners, that we found out while I was at the STAC meeting last week that FLAP, Federal Lands Access Program, will open again this year, so it'll open in June. So I know you're interested in that for a couple of projects, probably not the least of which is Paths to Mesa Verde, but other programs as well. Flashing back and forth.
I have the funky mic. I'm
Trade.
sorry for
They're
those
brand
of you
new.
online.
They're brand new.
I can just
Trade.
try this one.
Trade.
Yeah, try the other one, or you can have mine. I probably talk too much anyway.
No, you have to talk about that.
Oh, okay. So, moving on to broadband then. So as the commissioners are aware, the long-term goal that the regions are working on is building a contiguous ring around the state from Denver to Junction to Cortez to Walsenburg and back up I-25 to Denver to create a circle so that if there is a mudslide in Glenwood Springs or a fire down here or construction in Denver, whatever, we can reroute internet traffic and not have total outages. And as part of that, we helped Clear Networks, and we, being Region 9 and Montezuma County, to get CPF funding to build from Cortez to Mancos and then from Mancos to Dolores as part of the priorities identified by the county at the time. Clear Networks is in process of building that now, and we've got the optical equipment coming. The routing equipment's already staged in Durango. The optical equipment is at the lab in Texas for programming, but as part of the agreement getting the CPF funds, Montezuma County was going to work out with Clear Networks to get, I believe, 2 buffer tubes, so 24 strands of fiber that would go from Cortez to Mancos and from Mancos to Dolores. For this initial pass, we're in need to connect from Cortez to Mancos. The optical and routing equipment will be, so the IRU coming down from, which is indefeasible right of use, it's like techie talk for a lease on Tri-State Fiber is coming down from Montrose to Cortez. That paperwork has been finalized. We'll probably be ready to light that portion of it at the end of this quarter or early next quarter, but we expect fiber to be ready hopefully in Q3 to get from Cortez to Mancos, at which time we would want to put the router in Mancos. And so what we need to negotiate is what it'll take for us to get 2 strands of fiber from 2210 Cortez to Mancos Town Hall out of the county's 24 strands.
Okay, well then let's negotiate, let's talk. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Need to negotiate?
Yep.
Okay,
Eh,
so, I mean, what are your thoughts and ideas? I mean, we do have the 24 strands,
What-
but you
I
just
mean,
need to have the 2 strands to.
We need 2 strands to get wavelength between Cortez and Mancos. And so, I mean, you don't have them yet because it's not
Right.
built yet, but I also don't know what arrangements the county has made with Clear Networks. I know Empire Electric had agreed to offset the cost of pole attachments relative to the cost of the 6 strands they're getting. I don't know if the county has made what agreements the county has with Clear Networks, but I do know that by the end of Q3 for sure, we'd sure like access to 2 strands to be able to light up.
By Q3, you said?
By the end of Q3, we need to light it up. Our grant runs out at the end of the year, so we'll still need time to get the routing equipment in and light it up and test it and all of that.
So then, so this just goes between 2210 and Mancos.
Correct.
But it serves the entire network, right? Basically,
Yeah,
I
so a
mean,
wave of light has to be amplified every so often. This particular piece would get from Cortez to Mancos. As of now, there is no fiber other than Tri-State, which is at the Empire substation that runs to Durango, so we're gonna have to split to get off there. The rest of 160 from Mancos into Durango doesn't exist yet. We are in the process of designing it, and Bonfire has indicated that they are interested in building it, at which time we'll be able to shoot light all the way across there. But right now, it's just getting from Cortez to Mancos.
So Shaq, just for my benefit, you're letting us know this is something that needs to be negotiated in the future? Am I understanding that right? Or is this something you
Well,
think we ought to be working on
I
more
think
near
we
term?
actively need to be working on it. You're the lawyer, so I don't know if you want us working on a public meeting or executive session, or if you want to come up with the terms or whatever. I do think it'd be wise to have an understanding of what agreements you've come to with Clear Networks on that. But-
Okay. Yeah, so as Shaq mentioned, things that are subject to negotiations are a possible executive session, category that the board can go into executive session for. Frankly, I'm not prepared to discuss it today anyway, even if we wanted to. But I think I appreciate the clarification from Shaq. Just that this is something we ought to be working on, and then to the extent that the board wants to take it up in the future, it probably would be a good idea to set an executive session to talk about possible terms to be negotiated and things like that.
and
And definitely
So-
brainstorm anything that you also need to know or information we need to provide at that time. We'd be happy to.
so pretty active, because you said Q3 has to be lit up.
Yeah, by the end of Q3, we need it lit up, because we've got to do a closeout report and get that to DOLA, because while the county contributed match to the optical and routing equipment, obviously DOLA generated
Right.
the most amount and set the terms, so.
Okay. Well then,
Sooner
yeah, I
than
think
later.
we need to get active pretty quick, because that's not very far away. I mean, really, it'll be here quicker than we think. So, if we need to then set that, we can set that at an executive session in the future, and we'll get going. Unless you guys have any other ideas on that.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right, we will get active.
All right.
So, anything else?
Not from me, Commissioners. Any further questions or comments from the Commissioners?
I have one. In our last Region 9 meeting, there was a presentation from the mountain biking bunch for 2030.
Yes.
Could you get that available to these two gentlemen back here from our Tourism Tax Board? Because I think they would be very interested in this.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send that over to him this afternoon.
Okay.
And I believe the world's, they're outreaching all the tourism offices.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure
But I don't know
that
where that's at.
wasn't left uncovered, because sometimes
Thank
we
you.
mess up.
So they, just for your information, they're applying for Enterprise Zone Contribution Project status, so that sponsorships from folks in Colorado and all of that, they can receive tax credits, because this is gonna be international and, international television coverage, and there's not enough hotel, motel
Right.
places. I mean, they're gonna have to utilize the whole region.
And just to make the commission aware, as far as tourism goes, raise your hand if you knew we were in a drought. None of you, okay. Well, it's drier than normal for those of you that
I would term it
didn't
more as an extreme drought.
know. Fair enough.
It's been so
we-
long, it's just normal. It's really not.
It's just the way it
It's
is
just the way it
now.
is, right?
Just the way it is now. You can put on your CDAP, you could put, regular rainfall, and we'll work on that to the best of our ability. But in lieu of that, we have begun meeting throughout the region to work on putting together the lists of tools that are available, not only to the ag community, which CSU handles very well, but also to the businesses that don't have things like USDA backing them up when the tourists don't show up, or, you know, the implement stores, the IFAs, whatever, when the farmers don't do as well. So we are actively beginning to work on the messaging on that as well.
Just coordinating, you know,
Yeah.
all the different pieces. But we'll let, I mean, tourism do what they do best, et cetera. We just want everyone talking to each other, not
Yeah,
working.
we want the tourists to come here and be responsible, which I'm sure the tourism board can tell you when they recommend how to distribute lodgers funds.
Okay.
So we don't have anything else unless you have a high level, what you think your top 5 priorities are, or 1 or 2 of them. You know, if you still think housing, infrastructure, I know you mentioned Commissioner Candelaria. Just-
You know, infrastructure, because it's something that everybody uses every day.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter, you're having to use it,
Public infrastructure.
which is always gonna be a priority. I think housing right now is never going to stop being an issue. But I think we're doing okay. I don't think we're doing great, but I think we're doing okay.
That's-
So I'll look it over with these 2 gentlemen, and we'll kind of figure it out and
That's
be
what we're
prepared.
hearing. Definitely public infrastructure's become more important. I would say drought is actually coming up as something that's rising to the top, less so on broadband now. You know, it's settled, kind of like housing. Childcare is also rising, just in terms of some other feedback we're getting. What would I say, undata specific. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you both. I'm going to jump around a little bit because I actually have a guy here that I don't mind listening to this whole meeting. So I'm going to go to bullet point number 3, and we're going to bring up the lodger's tax so that you can hear some of this other stuff that affects our roads. I'll see you back, Stephen. Okay. All right, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Okay, it looks like we have some considerations, after careful considerations. So recommendations for us as the Lodgers Committee. So with that, Lee, go ahead.
Okay. This was quite an interesting first part of the year. When I came in, I mentioned to you gentlemen that the state was really slow this year. And it wasn't as much as we'd like. It was only about 70,000. We had to go to the treasurer's office to confirm it just before our meeting. If you look down at the bottom, we verified our total funds like on the 28th, and then we had our meeting on the 29th. Because we were in an extreme shortfall. But we're close to what we had last year, so that felt good. And we had 9 applications, which came to a total of $355,000. And so we still had to do some cuts. If you notice, most of our things are related to tourism, heads and beds. That's our motto. And looking at what was awarded, we didn't give anything for your consideration to Crow Canyon. It's hard to give Crow Canyon something out of our little pot, because they're in a pretty strong situation as far as funds. So that is a 0. We made another cut with the Memphis Creative District. They asked for like 28,000, and the committee, after much discussion, and I think I mentioned before when we've been here, it's kind of hard to look at their total program because they have other they're one of the districts in the state. I found it interesting, I did take the test, Commissioner Candelario. I looked at the back page of what some of these people also are getting money besides asking the committee and so forth. And I'm gonna stay with the creative district for just one more moment. They have a very robust plan to try and come up with their budget this year, and they really want to buy that building. We only looked at the big event for them is like the Burroughs Fest and their literary writers program and so forth. And the rest of it, we didn't want to talk about as bringing something to you gentlemen, because that's purchasing property and historical ideas or what have you to maintain. Doesn't seem like this committee should be presenting those things to you. So that was why we only want to recommend $10,000 for them, and that covers their Borough Fest. And as I said, I looked in the enterprise zone and so forth, and they do mention the Borough Fest. That isn't working? Oh, excuse me.
Brand new and they don't work.
Pull it as close as you can, too.
All right. That better?
Yeah.
That's better.
That's better for me,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Remember, if you can kiss the mic, you're close enough.
She's not very pretty, though. Okay. Well, anyway, with that, that was a discussion that the committee had to go into because their budgeting thing is quite impressive for purchase. But we're only interested in what brings people here on tourism and heads and beds. So that was why that one was cut. We also cut the recommendation for the Heritage Museum, and maybe I should let you say something about that.
Excuse me, Brian Bartlett, I'd be happy to, and thank you, Lee, I appreciate that. Our Heritage Museum is growing and continuing to be a force to be reckoned with in our tourism landscape here. It takes a long time, we're in our third year now. I'm very happy to say that in the month of April, the museum enjoyed about 125 visitors, but over 25% of those were people that were here on tourism, specifically for tourism. That's the most healthy indicator we've seen so far for the museum, and that's why we felt fairly justified in going with 2/3 of the request, because there are active programs and active campaigns underway to bring lodgers, to bring people to the museum, and then bring them directly into our lodgers market as well, and put those heads in beds.
Okay, thank you. Now the rest of this is, you sort of see here we had $10,000 grant amounts that were suggested. And our really go-to lodging events or opportunities to put heads in beds is the rodeo is always so right on. And all the lodgers talk about how much they make at that time. But they never ask for a lot. So all we do is say yes. And the rest of those, the Cortez Cultural Center is very important because of the dances. And that money there is strictly for helping with the program of the dancers. And then the rest of that is Dolores and Manca's Chambers. We recommended $59,000 last year, and that's what we gave to both of them. We feel like they should get their 60, although Manca's wanted to get an extra 5, and we cut it back to 60,000. And then the last one that I will speak about is, and Brian may have to jump in on this, was the large request is sort of like for Mesa Verde Country, and they're like the big umbrella for tourism for the county. And they coordinate with the other players. And I won't toot Brian's horn too hard, but he does a good job of being in partner meetings with all of the players. And the Mesa Verde Country has went through kind of a change, because for years they were kind of like under the umbrella of the city of Cortez. Well, now they're independent of that, and they're a vendor. And we're trying to, hopefully with the lodger's tax, help keep them going in the right direction and keeping business coming our way. Okay, any questions?
I don't have any questions specifically on your recommendations, but I do have a question, and I asked this last year. So we are at 1.9% right now as far as our lodger's tax. Last year, 2 years ago, the state raised that to where we could move that up to 6%. Obviously, it has to go to a vote. And then there's some other criteria that we can utilize to additionally put heads in beds, but there's some other things to utilize that with. So my question again is, this is an election year. Do we leave that at that 1.9%, or is this, if we're short, do we want to ask for another 0.5%, or what's your recommendations? Because you guys know that we can move that. It has to be voted on, but it can move up to 6%. A lot of counties in the state of Colorado have already done that. What's your thoughts and ideas?
You go ahead.
May I? Thank you, Commissioner Candelaria. I appreciate that very much. Our position as Mesa Verde Country and as a tourism office in general is that it's time to grow that tax. We need to stay in sync with most of our other markets that people are traveling through to get to this market specifically. We also have an opportunity, instead of growing it by 0.1%, which would have been a lot of work to do just to get that 0.1%, now we could grow it to a different number, which conceivably would be more than the 0.1%. It's in line with what other rural destinations are doing. It's helping us mature our market and become much more of a destination, much less of a pass-through, which has been our mantra for a long time, and you've heard that from us. It would also allow other partners, and there are quite a few tourism partners in this region who want to participate more actively, not just in providing services and goods, but in some ways that they could structure possibly some of their efforts financially via this mechanism. So we are all in favor of that, and we do have pretty good information on how we can help with that, and we'd love to help however you see fit.
Well, I mean, the question is, we have to put it on the ballot.
Yes.
But with what the state did 2 years ago, we now have that opportunity to do that. So if it will help more of these and more, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? It has to be voted by the community, but the community doesn't pay it.
It's nice. It's the tax you never pay at home. That
It's
is
the
correct, yes.
person traveling through town that
Right.
pays it. So just like if you go anywhere else,
We need a recommendation from you.
Yeah. You have a
Well-
number?
you have a number.
We have a number that we've been working with and kicking around. This has not been voted on by the committee or anyone else, but this is what we've shared with partners.
So
and
we
stakeholders.
have until June, the end of June or the end of July.
You have to have your stuff in the state by July.
Yeah.
So
July.
we're pushing a pretty tight freight
A
too.
month and a
So
half.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
if you have a number, and what would be, you don't have to answer today, but you're gonna have to get back to us pretty quickly.
We could answer today or get back to you either way, whichever's more convenient.
I think it would be
Well-
more convenient if we kind of talked it over with some of the hotelers to go along with this.
Okay.
We do have the number, but if we gave it to you now,
Well,
but could we have maybe
Yeah.
a couple weeks or?
you've got a couple weeks.
Thank you.
But let's don't extend it too far, because we're gonna have to get it on a ballot, and
Yes, sir.
then we'll see what happens. But, like I said, I asked it last year.
Yes, sir.
You guys didn't feel that that was the time, but I see what a lot of these other counties are doing, and I'm like, gosh.
We
I'll have to ask
agree
it
with you,
again.
Commissioner. We really think it's time to expand it. Because it's kind of tough to kind of take care of all that you're being asked to do. And even when we bring up this extreme drought situation, and we, as you see down here in our notes, we didn't recommend all the funds being used, but that $3,800 that we wanted to save is for if we have a fire or something, we need to be on top of putting out some announcements and things through the news and so forth to counteract that. And that's not much of an emergency fund.
That's what I was going to ask.
that's-
I mean,
That's what
that's pretty thin for an emergency fund.
Well, normally we figure we need about 5,000 for Mesa Verde country to put together a good news release. And
Okay.
it's not when it's going to happen, it's the water is not there, so we may have a fire
Okay.
or a couple.
So if I give you 2 weeks, you said the committee's going to meet again?
No, we'll make it happen.
We can make that happen, sure.
Yeah, I think we can make it happen without a problem.
It's at the forefront of our discussions because, gentlemen, in our partner and stakeholder meetings that Mesa Verde Country holds every month, some of which are attended by many of the people in this room, we've been talking about this for quite some time. So we have a
Okay.
pulse on that already. It's not a new concept, wouldn't be a new number, and definitely something we'd love to move on. And thank you for
Okay.
this
So
opportunity.
Travis, you'll put that down in 2 weeks or the next, as close to that as possible, and then you guys will have time to meet and get together, and then we can meet again in another workshop.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I don't have any issues with this as far as your recommendations. We'll vote on this tomorrow, obviously. I mean, unless you guys have any other,
No,
No, it's fine.
okay.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. There are some differences, but I can remember one year,
I was with you. I remember too.
yeah, uh-huh.
there were a lot of differences, and it was not good.
No, it isn't.
Pretty
And
much
I'm
a-
probably going to get an earful from that one person we didn't recommend as much.
Understand?
Yeah, but I think I can take care of that for you.
Okay.
Gentlemen, we have a little messaging that we're sharing on drought issues specifically, and it's just some best practices, some things we're trying to employ. Would it be okay to leave a couple of these packets with Travis for the team? Is that okay at this point? in
Yeah.
time? Thank
You
you.
bet.
Absolutely, thank you. I think all of our messaging on drought and fire hopefully is all the same.
Yes.
And,
Yeah,
We're
we'll go
behind
from there.
Shaq's leadership on that, and he's keeping us all nose to nose.
Yes.
okay.
all right, sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to us, Commissioner.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
gentlemen.
All right, I'm going to go down now. I'm going to move around again. I'm going to go down to, I'm assuming that you guys are with the USDA Wildlife. Come on down.
Thanks, sir. I do have a presentation we can put up here if you want. I either have a USB or we can plug it to your, whatever's your preference.
Let's try the USB.
Okay.
And just so you know, Commissioner, might have a chauffeur to take them to the sheriff's office, the courts, and out to the landfill.
Okay.
So,
I guess while he's doing that, I could introduce myself. So my name is John Moore. I'm the Western District Supervisor of USDA Wildlife Services here in Colorado. I'm based out of Grand Junction. And then this is John Callan. Oh, switching sides completely.
make sure the green light's on your mic.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Yeah, my name is John Callan. I'm the Eastern District Supervisor for the Colorado Wildlife Services Program. So this presentation is a presentation we give to lots of folks who are interested in kind of all the work we do. You know, that being said, I think there's a few things in particular that'll interest you guys here in Montezuma County. So this picture here on the front, that's kind of one of our regular work setups. You can see we got hounds, we've got horses, ATVs, all that kind of stuff. You know, we are a federal agency that deals with wildlife damage management. If you want to just, I think up at the top there, there's that little, or that works too. But yeah, so we are the United States Department of Agriculture under APHIS, Wildlife Services. You might hear us call any of those things. If you've ever heard the term government trapper, that's us. You know, as an agency, our vision is to improve coexistence people and wildlife. Our mission is to provide this federal leadership and expertise to resolve wildlife conflicts, allowing people and wildlife to coexist. Our goal is to provide these services to people on the ground, develop effective methods, value invest in our people, and inform and communicate with you. You know, here in Colorado, we have about 40 employees across our 2 districts. And yeah, we can go to the next slide. Thank you, sir. The main way that we interact with cooperators is through cooperative service agreements. So these cooperative service agreements can be done with the federal government. So we have agreements with BLM or Forest Service for work we do for those guys. Tribal governments, we have an agreement with the Southern Mountain Ute, or not Southern Mountain, Southern Ute. You know, state government, we have agreements with CDOT, CPW, different entities like that. We can go into agreements with cities, counties. I think we have agreements with 10 or so counties in the state at this point, and then also individual landowners or, you know, livestock groups, things like that. Cost sharing is sometimes available. I'll tell you, you know, with a county, we could probably do some cost sharing, not a huge amount. Unfortunately, our federal allocations haven't changed in 25 plus years at this point, but we can definitely throw something at it. And then some work is federally funded through appropriations. So if there's work that occurs in the county that we can justify under one of those, you know, say non-lethal beaver work, non-lethal wolf work, different stuff like that, we can actually just fully cover the cost of that work. And then how to start by contacting our state office. They're going to put you in touch with us. So at the end of this, you'll have our contact information as well, and we can leave cards with you. You know, for a lot of the counties, it kind of depends on what they're interested in. You know, some counties, Pueblo County, for example, has 2 full-time guys. A full-time guy costs about $150,000. We can typically cost share $30,000 of that, brings it down to about $120,000. So, you know, they're paying about $240,000. Other counties, some like Bento, Taro, Crowley, in the city of La Junta, they're all sharing one guy, so they all pay a quarter of that cost. Other counties just pick a number and say, hey, you know, let's throw $10,000 at this year, see how far it gets us. As you guys request work, you're only billed for what it costs. We don't, you know, when an employee goes out and actually does the work, the miles he drives, the hours that he puts down on his timesheet, the equipment that he buys, whether that's a pesticide for some prairie dogs or something like that, that's what you actually end up paying. So we don't typically, we are unable to quote kind of like, here's how much it costs per acre, because it depends on which employee, how dense the prairie dogs, all that type of stuff. But I can tell you that it's generally a lot cheaper to use us because we're not for profit. We are just charging you the cost of what the work takes. But yeah, and this, if you guys have any questions, interrupt me at any point. This slideshow from here on out is mostly a bunch of pictures just to introduce folks to what we do. Not a whole lot of words. I know that's how I like presentations.
That sheep there on the left needs sheared.
Yeah, that's a big sheep. So yeah, one of the main things we do throughout, especially the West, is livestock protection. So that's dealing with coyotes, bears, lions, wolves, fox, that type of stuff. You know, here you can see some methods we use. We do provide livestock guardian dogs to folks. We're out there with sheep herders and sheep camps. We actually have an aerial program, so we fly and lethally remove coyotes from airplanes to reduce coyote densities. We can also do livestock depredation investigations. This is one thing that a lot of counties right now are interested in. Some counties that have recently signed on with us, signed on specifically because they want us to be able to do these. You know, we have very experienced investigators who've done this for 30 plus years and protected livestock, and there's a desire to have kind of a third party involved in those. Additionally, we do have an agreement with CPW for bear and lion work. So if we're doing specifically bear and lion work in your county requested by CPW, say a bear kills some sheep, CPW asks us to go take care of the bear, you wouldn't get billed for that. That's already the case. You know, we already do work here in the county.
So I've got to stop you there for 1 second.
Yeah, go for it, sir.
Because of bears, and I'm thinking about our sheriff and chasing bears in the town of Dolores all the time.
Yeah.
Have you ever reached out? If not, I'm meeting with them this evening. Maybe I'll have them reach out.
They
to
can
you all
absolutely reach out
because
to us.
We have better things for our deputies to do beside chase bears.
100%. So one of the next slides coming up Carillion bear dogs, a tool that we use. We also have hounds, but to haze and harass bears, we have pepper ball launchers, all that type of stuff. So whether it's a landfill, neighborhood, things like that, a lot of times CPW under that bear and lion agreement is just paying for a removal or a capture. They're not going to pay for necessarily hazing, but through the agreement with the county, we can definitely haze bears and do that type of work for you. We also have our non-lethal wolf damage management. So here in the state, that involves, flagery, livestock protection dogs. We do night watch. We have drones that we can fly with thermals and actually chase wolves away from livestock. We can go on the next one. Non-lethal and lethal beaver management. So if you guys have beaver issues, we can identify.
Which we do have some beaver issues, so
Yeah.
you can see why I didn't just let you go today. I'm keeping you here for a reason.
Yeah, so a lot of counties have beaver issues, and most of the counties we have an agreement with, even if we're primarily doing livestock protection, we're doing a fair bit of beaver work. And we can help you identify situations where, hey, this beaver, we can put in this coexistence tool that will enable us to kind of move on from the problem, or if it's a better spot to lethally remove them, we can even translocate beavers depending on what kind of your goals are, and what else, kind of the community as a whole wants. Obviously, sometimes when we're up near Denver, people don't want the beavers dead, so they want us to move them. Everything's different depending on where you are.
So do you have like a beaver sanctuary you're moving to or something?
No, there's actually, we have agreements with folks that want beavers. So they'll pay for, you pay for the beaver trapping, and then they'll pay for the beaver to be moved, tagged. This is actually some of the research we're doing right now with beaver translocation to see if it's effective, if you're moving a problem, if the beavers are surviving, that kind of stuff.
One caveat, though, with beaver relocation is CPW is involved in that, and there's time frames. Certain times of the year, we're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
We also do non-lethal elk damage management, so we've helped certain communities throughout the Rockies have a whole lot of elk on golf courses, coring people, things like that. We can help with those types of issues.
Geese on golf courses
We do a lot of
are
goose
pretty
work.
detrimental.
We do a whole lot of goose work. Yep, that's in here too. Wild horse contraceptive darting. So we're the ones out there darting horses with Gonacon, which is a pesticide that our agency actually developed. You mentioned geese. Here we are doing some geese work. We do, in addition to, lethal roundups, we can also do non-lethal work, hazing, tracking, that type of different stuff. Vulture damage management. I'm not sure if you guys have many vultures down here in Montezuma, but there's a few places where you do. Yeah, there's a few counties and cities that have vultures just creating issues, and we can help with that. We do a fair bit of black-footed bear protection out in the southeast part of the state. Additionally helping mountain plovers, greenback cutthroat trout, southern red-bellied dace. Feral swine damage management's another big thing. Here in Colorado, we've eliminated feral swine, but we do still have a number of escaped domestics on the landscape. So these are pigs that are breeding, and by the federal definition, our definition, are feral. CPW does not call them feral, they call them escaped domestics. But we do have a pig problem still in Colorado. I don't know over here what you got, but it's something. And that's another one, we do get federal allocations to deal with those issues. So if we were doing work with feral pigs in the county here, you wouldn't be getting charged. And I meant to mention it earlier, but we do have an employee actually that lives here in Cortez. So if we did have an agreement here in the county, you'd have someone that's already living here. Right now, he travels around a fair bit in the southwest portion of the state working. We do a lot of work with our airport's hazard program. We have an agreement with CDOT, so we actually do a fair bit of work at the Cortez airport already. We deal with their rodents, birds, things like that. And then disease sampling and monitoring. We do wildlife biosecurity assessments for all the big poultry facilities. So there's a number of those on the east side and up towards Junction. I don't know if you have any down here. But additionally, we monitor for avian influenza. We can do different work with rabies, tularemia plague, SARS-CoV-2, chronic wasting disease. New World screwworm's the one that we're often asked about these days. Right now, we're still in a passive surveillance kind of situation, and doing outreach, educating producers, educating wildlife agencies, things like that, on what to look for. if it does make it across the border, we'll be, involved pretty heavily in monitoring wildlife and sampling and potentially, removals from a population if we need to do something like that. I'll go up one slide for me. One other thing I always like to point out is we do have the National Wildlife Research Center here in Colorado. It's in Fort Collins. That's the largest wildlife research center in the United States, kind of the flagship research center, and that's us. And it's pretty cool that they're here in Colorado because it means we get to do a lot of fun stuff that is a little less accessible in other states. But yeah, that's kind of a quick overview with a lot of nice pretty photos of what we do. John and I, our contacts are on here. Next steps, if this is something that the County of Montezuma is interested in, I know, from discussions, it's been prairie dogs. It sounds like there's some issues at the landfill, beavers, things like that. I would suggest we just come up with a number that you're comfortable with. We can put together an agreement for you. You can sign it, and then we can essentially start work. Like I said, you get billed based on the work that you request, the work that we do. We don't go out and just do work. You
Right.
ask for it, or however you guys want to run it, through Travis, or make it available to your, however you want to make it available to your constituents, essentially.
We'll have to come up with a number, and we'll have to do that publicly, but,
Yeah.
Travis obviously has had the conversation with you guys, and then you're gonna take the tour of the landfill, the combined courts, and now, we do have at least one place that we're having active beaver problems out
Yeah.
on a county road. So we would have one more to add with that, or two.
Yeah.
Heath probably knows.
But we'll be able to kind of identify that and then put together something for you, because we specifically need to get this going as soon as possible. One, to comply with CDPHE at the landfill.
Yeah.
We just had the judges come in here and talk to us a couple weeks ago, and trying to work on this problem with them too. So
Yeah, and we could get the paperwork over to you probably next week sometime would be.
Okay.
Okay.
We're a little busy this week, but I would think we could have paperwork together by next week.
Provided we had a number.
Yeah.
in mind. Yeah.
And we could talk more about that. I mean, my recommendation would just be start with a number like $20,000, and then again, you only get billed for what the work we do.
So it's going to be, I don't know what the number is going to be, because we have a pretty big landfill area.
Yeah,
It's,
And it'll come out of two different funds, the enterprise fund and then general fund for the
Yeah.
courts and the sheriff's office.
and
road and bridge.
once we go do that tour, we can, if we think
Right.
something like that's too small, we can certainly let you know.
okay, so why don't you do your tour first?
Yeah,
I kind of have a number in mind,
sure.
but I don't know if it's adequate.
Yeah,
But it will come out of three different funds: road and bridge, enterprise, and then general.
yeah,
And
So-
we had mentioned to Travis earlier that the way we set up the agreement is the wording can be a little vague, so we can cover anything you need
Yeah.
with regard to wild. It doesn't have to be specifically prairie dogs and beavers. It can list anything else.
yeah. We
Okay.
always like
Just
to
to
add
leave it open.
a catch-all kind of sentence that says any other damage management needs requested by the cooperator.
Really,
essentially.
it's prairie dogs, beavers. Then we do have some bear
Bear.
that frequent the landfills. So
Yeah. Well, and then inevitably, you got a bunch of pigeons on the building that you want us to remove, or
yeah.
any
So-
number of things.
Yeah, if, once
Feral
you get your
cats.
tour done, you'll kind of have a better
Yeah.
idea, and then we can then formulate a number that we can allocate at that point in time. So,
Yeah. And typically, again, up to you guys, we would, for counties, we typically run down the calendar year, so we'd start it, now, next week, whatever.
yeah,
Go through 12/31, and then sometime in, November, October, we'd get you kind of numbers for the next year, and have a meeting with you guys, share the work that we've done, present to you what stuff's
Good.
coming up, what we're starting to see. Because once we have a guy on the ground in the county doing that work, he'll start to see more stuff and bring it up too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I know you're doing some work for the city of Cortez at the airport, but I don't know if they'd want to expand into city limits with prairie dogs, geese, vultures, whatever.
Yeah.
And I know Dolores, like Commissioner Candelaria said, that they're having a little trouble with bears over there.
Yeah.
And somebody reported a mountain lion sighting somewhere over the weekend, but
Sure.
I don't remember where that was, but
And we can non-legally
Was it
haze
Mancos?
lines.
The other day,
Yeah,
I think
it was in
The other
Mancos.
day it was in Mancos,
yeah.
coming
Yeah.
up along the river.
Yeah, so we
Just
can
a-
haze lines as
like a
well, and we do
yearling.
that for
Right.
CBW. We'll tree them and pepper ball them and kick them loose. So,
Okay. Well, go get your tour done.
yeah.
Get us a number.
You
or a-
can't, you can, if you wait any longer, we can't do it by the number of prairie dogs you see though. 'Cause all them little pups are coming up out of the ground.
Yeah,
No,
Just the
well,
they're
last
pupping
couple of
big.
days.
We generally just look at kind of the acres, what we're talking, and, you know, an average density of a colony, but, I think in this situation, typically what I recommend when it's a new agreement is to be on the larger side of what we think it's gonna be, because inevitably, once we start doing the work, like you said, the judge came and talked to you last week, as soon as people start hearing about this, more is gonna come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. Well, the combined courts, we have 6 acres over there that we need to get something done. And
Yeah.
I agree with the judge.
Yeah,
So, yeah, let's get that squared away. And then the beaver is a consistent nuisance, which creates problems for our road and bridge department.
yeah,
So, yeah, take a tour. We're gonna add one more site to it, for the beaver. And I think you guys have taken most of that away at this point in time, but, we'll let you view that also.
perfect, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, John and Johnathan, or John and John, and
J and J.
It's not confusing at all, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
thank you all. Appreciate it.
We
All right.
We always participate in that program. Huh? Yeah. They always had a government tractor here. They come in here every year and we give them like $25,000 or $40,000 or something every year.
Yeah,
Every year
we used to, yeah. Well,
to control just for predation and everything else that happens. All right.
All right. Next, Dennis. Let's see. Jumping around still.
You
Come
don't
on
want-
down, Dennis Bugg. We're gonna look at a
Road
compensation
grade.
study.
Road grade.
No, actually want him in here for a while.
oh, okay. Boy, he must have done something wrong.
He's listening and learning and training.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right. Okay, so what I sent you guys was basically a synopsis breakdown of what everybody bid and kind of their timeline, and then we really looked at the bottom 4 bids as far as pricing goes. I mean, obviously we had a huge variation in pricing from $32,000 to $213,000.
Yeah.
So I went through the bottom 4. Not everybody, so what happened is we put out the RFP, there were 3 addendum requests for additional information. Mostly basically had to do with the fact that it's more than just a standard compensation. The real need is to also have some benefit looked at and also do more of creating, correct job descriptions and creating the actual pay scale based on job descriptions, not just like a pay plan, like just the numbers on the pay plan. So there were questions. So there were 3 questions that were given and we answered. So based on that, that's where the bids came in at. That's why there was some increased costs compared to what we thought it might have been when we sent out the RFP. Of those 4, 2 of them did not include any work on the benefit side, so I disqualified them because that is part of the request. It wasn't in the original RFP, but it was definitely in the addendum, and so we need that as part of it. So that came down to the 2, which was Synergized and then Pontiflex. And so my recommendation would be to go with Pontiflex at $39.5. They have everything in here to do all of the study, which includes looking and reviewing all of the job descriptions, scoring everybody appropriately to know what what their job really is, and then helping come up with, looking at the benefit side also to see where we sit with everybody, and then also a pay plan. So it would be completely comprehensive on
So
pay
it
and benefits.
meets all the requirements of the RFP?
Correct, including the addendums.
Is that, what did we budgeted, 35,000?
25
25. So this would just require a budget adjustment?
of about 15, yep. And it may be actually, I'd have to look, and it gets very complicated in that some people flat cost things, and some of the people, which they did, and some people did it like by the job description, right? And so it was a little tough to get into the weeds in everything, because if you look like even like Road and Bridge, they have 14 operator drivers, so it's the same job description. So even though we have 190 employees, it's truly not 190 individual job descriptions. But when you do a job description review, you do interview everybody with that job description, because you have to get the full picture of what that person does. So you go talk to all of them, give them some kind of, gain of information study, so that way they can understand what those people do. That way, if there is a difference a little bit between some of the people, then they can quantify that, hey, the job description should really be these 26 items, not these, 24 items. But actual job descriptions, we don't have that many job descriptions that are active. We have multiple people like SO. We have multiple deputies, multiple detention deputies. So you just have to look at them. When you're looking at them, it's just like buying insurance, it's kind of the whole deal. It's trying to get an apples to apples, oranges to oranges look. But for me, how I looked at it is, took the bottom 4 in price, looked at it to see if they fit the RFP, see if they fit the addendums, and 2 did not, 2 did, and actually Pontiflex has a shorter time of duration to get the job done also than Synergize did also. So not only is it less money, but it would be less time, hopefully, on our part.
So what was wrong with PayPoint?
So PayPoint is not doing the benefits portion.
Oh, okay. That's why they're less, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they did not include any benefit look in their price.
okay. Question?
So fortunately, Pontifex being number 2 actually does carry the whole scope, so.
Well, we have a lot of stuff. We have Road and Bridge, we have the Sheriff's Office, we have some pretty big departments that.
Right.
So it kind of looks like you're throwing out the high, throwing out the low, and we're taking the next low bidder.
Yeah.
Question?
No.
We'll just have to do a budget adjustment because it is more than what we budgeted.
And this would be the one-time fix, right? I mean, we're going to create
Yeah.
a basis for everything, clean up all of our job descriptions. At the same time, it would be, because like most of our people we don't review job descriptions unless we replace a position. Currently, only Social Services annually reviews theirs. And so if we haven't replaced a job description or a person in 15 years, the job descriptions have not been altered in 15 years, even though their job may change every year. So it'll also get us to the point where we have a standardized job description, everybody would be current on what they're doing, and then we just have to put a program in place to try and do review more annually, or at least biannually, to try and keep them up to current. That
Okay.
way we're not,
So then the recommendation for the approval tomorrow would be the Pontiflex.
correct.
Okay. Just so that I have it right for tomorrow.
Yep.
Questions?
He
Okay.
answered my question in the last sentence he made, so.
Okay.
Okay.
ESP.
Keeping things updated.
Yeah, that's the
Well, there-
key, and that's the whole deal is, it's just really hard just how we've operated previously is to try and get everybody on one page and do everything the exact same way. This will
Yeah.
be the deal where when we bring it all together, we'll go around and talk to everybody, and that way we can get everybody on the same page. And then it'll make us more common.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Very good. Thanks. All right. Road and Bridge.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good
How are you?
afternoon.
Okay, we got a crew down in Calmo. They are crack sealing. Started last week. We kind of got messed up there last Wednesday for the weather. We didn't get a crack seal that day, but started back again this morning. Should be done with that by the first part of next week. we were supposed to go last Wednesday to La Plata County for, MAG to watch them spray. They had to cancel because of weather, so this Wednesday, we're gonna go over there, and learn from them, you know, get some good information from them. We actually did get our other, nozzles are coming for our second spray water.
Oh, good.
They were supposed to be shipping, hopefully. They said they were in stock today, anyway, when called for, so positive thing. They haven't been in stock, but they were today. So, there's that. Crew out at Roundup, they are working on Road 16, getting it shaped back up into, it's pretty wide, pretty, all the gravel's in Barney Circle and all that back up, so that's what that crew's up to. Cole's doing, you know, a lot of maintenance stuff. He's actually fixing to pull the mowers in, get them looked at. I know that we got everything done with the weed truck. It's ready now, so those guys are, hopefully tomorrow is their last class day.
Yep.
And they can take a test here in the next week or so.
Yeah, it sounds like, from talking to James Dietrich earlier, that they'll be ready to start getting out on the road by next week, so.
That's the way it sounds.
That's positive along with the spray operation that we have currently going.
Right.
So that's positive. So hopefully that'll be a lot more beneficial than those mowers.
Yes.
We are looking at those also too, because
Yeah, they're bringing the mowers in.
along with everything else, some of those are 19. Okay, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. They're somewhat,
aged.
they're aged. That's a good term.
Some of them we could put in the Heritage Museum.
But, you know, stuff like that is, will be beneficial to get this spraying done. So that's coming along nicely
Coming
too.
along nicely.
So, good deal. Yeah, Travis will have the information for this with the USDA. Take them out, look at those beavers, because I know that's been an issue now for a long time that we've got to get resolved sooner than later. And
Yeah, it's in there forever.
just, well, kind of like other things that we've been talking about now. It's just, it was laxed, and it's been there forever, it seems like, but we've got to get it taken care of sooner than later.
I did start digging into the bridge stuff like we talked this morning, so.
Yeah. Along with culverts that we're looking at that need
Yeah.
repaired, we're also taking a look at the last bridge report to see where we're at as far as,
See exactly which ones that they do inspect and which ones they don't.
Mhm.
They don't inspect all of our bridges.
correct.
They only inspect part of them.
So
27 is what they inspect.
we're looking deeper into that too to see where we're at as far as what we have to
And how
look
many
at for
total bridges
maintenance.
do we have?
I haven't got that number for you yet.
Okay.
You're gonna have to give me just a little bit more time.
I asked him that question this morning too. I had a bunch
Each other counting on
bunch of deer in the headlight look. So we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're working on things. We're getting there.
What is that like on a 5 years?
I thought it was
I think
5
it's
years,
every
but
5 years.
I
It's
think,
3 to 5
I think
years.
that's what
can't
it used to
I think
be,
it's 5.
like
but-
every 5 years they inspect
Yeah.
it.
The last time they inspected was 24.
Oh, that's not that long ago.
Yeah, but
Good.
the plan for planning of where they're at,
Right.
that's what we're looking at, and the traffic counts that go along with the bridges.
Right.
I mean, we know we have one that's pretty deficient. It's a 1930 or 1940 bridge, which is down on J Road, which is
1930.
still a single lane, 105-foot bridge that's, I know we've approved a couple subdivisions down there. So we're gonna get another road count on that road just to see if that is still adequate or if it's less.
When we fix that thing, we need to fix that whole intersection.
That
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
intersection, the way it
I
comes out.
agree.
We need to fix that whole damn intersection, because that's a
bad.
dangerous,
It's a mess, and it sits kind of right down in the,
Yeah, because you come up, when you're on G, to come off of there or coming out of J Road.
if you're
to get
coming
onto
out of J Road, that's when I get panic. I'm trying to look.
Yeah.
You can't see
It's-
nowhere right
It's
there.
not a good situation.
yeah, so
We need to try to figure out some way to fix that.
we're having those conversations. It'll probably go into more engineering at that point in time, but right now, we just talked about updating our traffic counts for that road, just to make sure that it correlates with what we have, because we already know that we have a deficiency there.
Yeah.
Um, It's not, well, it's single lane, it's got restrictions on it, looks like it's being used for other
It's had
things.
those restrictions on it for 20-some years, though.
Yeah, well,
I mean, ever since I can remember going down there, even before I was on the commission, there was restrictions around that
Yeah.
bridge for a long, long time.
Right.
so, yeah, we're looking at everything collectively as a county road system, and starting to work on all the deficiencies, but
Yeah, we got a list. We got a big list. It grows every day when you start looking, when
Yeah.
you start digging. You don't wanna
Yeah.
find lots of stuff, off and stuff.
so. Any other questions for Heath?
Well, every time I ask questions, his list gets bigger, so I'm gonna shut
Well,
up.
it's,
I'll answer. We did have a tree go down last week, and Empire Electric showed up to
Yeah.
cut the power, and, yeah, it all worked out good.
They appreciate your help very much.
Yeah. We had that. It was a big tree,
Yeah.
big tree. I don't know if you've seen the pictures or not. The stumps
I-
on the lowboy that was hauled out of there.
Yeah.
Which it was a
There-
tree, we couldn't control the tree because it was out of our right of way anyways, but when it did come down, it come down across the whole thing.
Then it was in your right of way. There's quite a few of those out there.
There's one more right there that,
Yeah.
was pretty worried, 'cause that went blowing hard. And one guy just watching the tree, even when Empire Electric was there, it's like, stay right here and watch that tree, Doug.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay,
Very good.
That's all I got.
all right,
Yeah, thank you guys.
thanks.
Thanks, Heath.
Thanks, Heath.
Don't leave. All right, last but not least, this is our open discussion now for discussion regarding the proposed sale tax. And this is on here today because we had somewhat talked about this, well, we didn't really talk about it, but now we're going to talk about it, is changing the numbers of 60/40 to 60/30/10. And the 10 being able to help with basically what we're doing on our cleanup days as we move forward to how do we help the county best by trying to get the county cleaned up. And Commissioner Copenafer had a good idea. You know, why don't we use 10% of this to actually help our county with tipping fees such as just what we're doing right now, or it can even be broader than that. And I'll let you expound on that, Commissioner.
I just think that if, rather than fighting with these people over cleaning these issues up, if we go out there and help them, just like the guy at Pleasant View, go out there and help him, that property looks pretty decent now. I think if that approach will work better than us fighting with people, trying to force them to do it. That's my opinion. I think it'd be a way to, maybe we could get some of this stuff cleaned up without having a battle with people and creating a bunch of regulations where we gotta hire somebody to enforce those regulations and stuff. I think in the long run, we'd be better off.
But
If we can
basically
get it
help
passed.
clean it up. Now, somebody may have to, we still may have to hire somebody
Yeah, we
to
may have
help
to have somebody
implement this, but at least this would give us a mechanism, a funding mechanism, because that was part of what the planning department brought up to us. But this then gives an avenue to everybody in the county that if they're having problems, that we can actually, we have funding available. Don't know what that funding would be every year, but there is a funding mechanism with that. So I think it was set at, we were talking 60 for SO, 40 for R&B, and now we're just dicing it up to 60/30/10 is kind of what the conversation was, correct?
Yeah.
So that's where you come into play, Stephen. That would be basically putting that into the ballot language, 60/30/10. And then the other conversation was, does that need to stay at 1, or does it need to go to 1.5 or 1.25? That was the other part of the conversation that we needed to have here today, too. thoughts?
I think we're better off trying to get it passed at one, but that's just my opinion.
I agree. We asked for one last time and got turned down, so maybe with the addition of the cleanup into that and more dissemination of where it's going would probably help. I think if we ask for more than that, we're gonna get turned down. I mean, economics
I
right
think-
now are
I-
tough.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I think the other thing we need to do is we need to put in there, just like what, that part that comes from Road and Bridge, I think we need to put that in there that we're gonna use that. Because they've already have a mill levy, and if we leave their mill levy on there, just like it is, and that money is gonna go to help pave these roads, not chip seal them, to actually pave these roads.
And help clean up the culverts and bridges that we've
Well, yeah,
got
we're
way
gonna
outstanding.
do that in order to, before we pave them, we're gonna fix that road
Yeah.
up. So you
Well-
don't have to tear it up later to fix a culvert. We're gonna fix all that on the way. But actually get these roads paved.
To where
so
they're all
they'll-
hard surface.
they're hard
instead
surface
of
that'll last
just-
for a long time,
Yeah.
not short term. Because every time we turn around, we're out here re-chip sealing these roads. And I think I think people will be way more receptive to us actually pinpointing where that money's gonna go. It's gonna go to fix these roads where we actually pave them, not do what we're doing.
No, I mean,
I don't know. What,
it's
So
semantics.
if we
You-
put
what do
that
you think?
into,
Just call
into
it
hard surfacing and not chip sealing, HMA. And I have to have you up here because
Microphone won't reach that.
people on YouTube won't
We
hear
still
you.
need to chip seal, but that's just
That's
a
maintenance.
maintenance
Yeah.
layer.
Right.
A single layer
Yeah, that's
half
just
inch
maintenance.
maintenance.
So-
That's it. We don't need to chip seal a gravel road. You won't get the longevity that you would if it's prepped right with a hard
Right.
surface.
So I agree, if we, and so that 30%, if that's kind of the number where we're going with now, and that would be for hard surfacing, I think
Yes.
it'll go a long way. Now, again, I don't know what it's gonna be every year, but
The road counts will tell us on the
Exactly where
roads
we
that
need
we
to-
That's where
need
we were
to.
going
we
with
need
that
to
in the
thing is-
start-
But the thing of it is, once you establish that fund, and that's what that fund has to go for.
Yeah,
And you
Right.
can't do anything else with it, even if we don't have enough to do so much one year, if, the next year
Well-
you'll have that much more to put with it to actually
Yep.
fix.
well, would know. We can, we're trying to develop the road count so that we have a plan forward to know that, hey, this 5 miles we need to do, or I don't know what it is, it could be.
Mile, 2
10
miles,
miles,
whatever it is,
mile.
whatever it is. I mean,
yeah.
Then we could actually put out for bid every year to do an actual hard surface.
yeah, make sure our culverts are
Area.
good, then we
Well,
go
we
put
need-
it out for bid, and then here we
So-
go, we do 6 miles, we do 3 miles, we do whatever we can do that year. Or like you said, if we can't do it that year, okay, so next year, instead of doing 3, we'll do 5 because we got enough to do the 5. Because you get under 3 miles, no one's gonna wanna come out there and bid on 3 miles of
But I
asphalt.
think in the language in our, we need to make sure that we're establishing that that's all that those things can go for. That that's gonna go into an account, and that's what it can go for. We can't use it for anything else.
Now, the only thing I would have to say is make sure you include drainage, hard surface, and prepping the road. Because sometimes some of these roads, we're gonna have to dig down and get rid of the soft spots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
if it has anything to do with that hard surface
Yes.
on that road,
Yes,
then we could use that for that project.
yes,
So the maintenance that we're doing now is just maintenance.
Just
because
maintenance.
It's
Just
part of maintenance.
part of
so,
maintenance.
But we are having to tear up some of these,
We had
asphalted
to
road
cut, yeah, we
because it
had to cut a
wasn't
good,
done.
we had to cut a good section of pavement out to put in a culvert that, who knows when it was changed last that was failing. Should have
So-
probably been changed before they paved the road.
is that what you need, Stephen?
Yeah, I think that's some good direction. I'll probably send whatever I come up with to Heath for his input too before it is formally presented to the board. But that's a helpful discussion. I guess the only other piece of the potential ballot measure is the exclusions. What I have down is that farm equipment would be excluded.
which is item F or E, and that was all we were excluding.
And I've had several people ask me, why is that the only one? I told them, I said, well, do you know how much that combine costs now? You get all kinds of questions like, or answers like 300,000. I'll guarantee you what, there's not one out there that you can buy for under $1 million.
Yeah.
That's a lot of expense to ranchers and farmers.
Look at-
To that
I think that
equipment is.
Look at that blade that we are purchasing.
Yeah.
Look at the price of that blade.
No, I know, and I think that I'm comfortable with leaving that exclusion. I don't think that's, I think we were all comfortable with
When
it.
you point out to people what those tractors and that machinery is actually costing those people, they understand a lot better.
So I'm gonna bring up one other thing, and I'm probably the odd guy out here, but I think that adding this and the hard surfacing, I think we would be remiss if we don't ask for a percentage more. Because they're gonna get a bunch for what they're paying for. And I think that, one, the 10% to help clean up this entire county, I think we're being proactive instead of reactive to clean up the entire county. The 30%, if we can make it for hard surfacing everywhere, it's way better longevity purposes. And the other 60% to SO, I think it needs to be, I mean, I'd like to go way out there and say 2%. I don't think I'd ever get there, but at least 1.5, 1.4. I mean, I think the last time when we did this, it was just specific to one
Do we
department.
have to come up with that number right now?
So the language is,
At this point, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to give the survey company some details so that they can do their survey and ask the voters, what do you think of this idea?
Could we, in Magellan, could we ask them to ask two different numbers? 1% and maybe 1.25%?
I don't think 1.25 is gonna do it. And the only reason I say that is because I'm looking at the costs that we got just this year on oil. Just this year, it was 400 and,
480,
it was almost
480-some thousand for
$100,000
16 miles.
more.
And that's one layer of half-inch chips, and it was $480,000.
So you can see what's happened just in this last year with these prices. I don't know if they're gonna stay there, I don't know if they're not. However, people want good roads and
And,
good
you know-
infrastructure, and I think that if we do that, I don't think it's gonna be enough to get to, I don't think it's gonna be to where we wanna get it to. So
Def-
I'll be the odd guy out here, and I think we should be a little bit higher. We're only gonna get it one time, I believe. And if we do this the way we're breaking it up, it's gonna help this community in everything that we're trying to do. I would like to see a minimum of 1.5, but there again, that's just a discussion between us. I'd like to shoot for the stars and say 2, but
We won't get
I
that.
don't think that'll happen. But I think,
The price of this is just gonna keep going up, though. I mean, you're
Correct.
100% right. No matter what you decide today, by the time we get it done this time next year, it's gonna be doubled. You can just guarantee it. No matter what we do, it's always doubling.
I'm gonna trade her in.
what's that? Oh, I got you,
Let me turn this off.
I heard you. I'm with you now. You better turn that off. I like the 60-30-10, but I'd like to see at least 1.5.
I mean, 1.5, the way, I mean, the state tax and the city tax, I mean, we're still on the low end, but we've got to sell this to a group of people, basically the municipalities. They're not affected by our roads. I mean, they are, but they don't think so. They go to the grocery store and they look at that bottom line.
You're 100% right.
Yeah. So you've gotta find a selling point, if there is one. There may,
Well, helping the entire county
That's,
with the cleanup stuff, and I think we can, I mean, I don't know, guys, what,
I mean, if we could just, and we can't do anything about the price of gas, we could get it down $1, we'd be all right.
yeah, that's, we have no.
But it's up
right
there, and
to
that's, we're gonna have to live with it a little while longer, but it's hurting. And if we asked today, it wouldn't only be no, it'd be hell no.
mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm gonna be, I mean, we see what's happening with CDOT. They keep robbing that fund. The state keeps pulling from it because
Yeah.
it's quick and easy, and they're still at a $1.5 billion deficit, minimum. It's probably more than that.
Yeah.
And
that's
I'll
what they're
almost
telling
tell you that they're gonna have another special session this year, 3 years in a row, to try and figure out their budget. And it's, I don't like it either, but if we don't ask, we're, at some point in time, what are we gonna do? I think 1% is gonna be deficient because of where we're at. And as we start looking deeper with these meetings that we're having weekly now, and like you said, we thought we had a little list, but the list continues to grow. But I also agree with you, Commissioner, that if
How
we
much-
make these hard surfaces, we're gonna have a lot better county infrastructure for everybody.
How much a mile's asphalt to lay down? See, put down at least 3-inch.
Yeah, you put down at least 3-inch.
Um,
I
A
haven't,
mile, I can tell you.
I mean,
probably-
it's gotta be, have went up tremendously too with the price of this oil and everything. I mean, there's no doubt it is, but I just,
it's up. The worst thing is for right now, the closest asphalt plant we got is either Durango or Aztec. The one over there at,
they're
Mud
not
Creek.
operating it all four corners,
No.
isn't running that yet.
no, they're gonna move it.
No, they're moving their plant to the other side of the hill because they've taken, CDOT Region 5 is the least funded region in the state of Colorado. So there are no projects here this year, so they're moving that plant over
I think
somewhere
it's
Alamosa
by
or somewhere,
Alamosa, off
somewhere
over
over there.
I can't remember. I can't remember what it was for a ton of asphalt.
Yeah.
I want to say it was around $5,000 for 25 tons. Now this was back in February or March.
Yeah,
So
before.
So, and I don't know, I haven't got a price right as of recently. So for a belly dump load, it was right around 5,000.
I can have that number for you to you next week, but
Yeah.
it's gotten pretty significant.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has.
However, to take care of our infrastructure and our roads, the hard surfacing is by far more beneficial instead of what we're doing.
Oh, there's no doubt.
And with the with the road counts that we're establishing now, we have a lot better idea of where we need to have these hard surfaces. So,
And, I mean, we had a goal of getting, within 60 days of having the whole county counted, but
we don't have enough counters.
we don't have
so-
enough counters to do that. We had more counters, we got them out, trying to get them to work, and they're just outdated.
So we're
And
Yeah.
we're in the process of
updating
finding
and
some,
getting some new
updating them,
counters.
which is around, we can get 4 of them for around
5-6
5,
grand.
6 grand, yeah, for 4 of them. And it takes 2 counters to count a mile of road. So, you could look at it that too. I mean, it's
And it's
a
a
slow
7-day
process,
it's a
but if
7-day
you keep,
count.
if you keep up with it,
Yeah,
you'll have
that's-
accurate numbers.
Yeah,
But we haven't had any counts for several years. I mean, you got a road here and a road there, I mean, and that's it,
we first bought road counters back in the late 90s.
right?
Yeah, these are probably those counters.
These are those
I'm
counters.
sure they are,
Because it looks like Pac-Man whenever you open the software.
Yeah,
Pac-Man's chasing the little
Those probably those
marshmallow.
counters. So
Yeah.
we're working on it. It's a slow process, but we're trying to move and update and get things squared away. So are you guys open to at least 1.5? I mean,
let me think that one over.
okay, I'm just, Like I said, I'm probably the odd man out here, but
You've been on
I
for a
think
long
that,
time.
well, I think that when I start looking at the things that I'm seeing out there now, I don't think 1%.
Yeah.
No is no, if whether it's 1.5 or 1, it's not gonna matter, I think, but if we present this way through this strategy, through these surveys, I think it's gonna be more valid. That's 1/2 of 1 cent.
No, 1.5 is a penny and a half.
Oh, I know, the 0.5. The 0.5.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for. Just to think
No,
about it.
you're asking for 1.5.
No, think about it, to increase it to that.
We've got to start, that's starting at 1. We're not starting at
Okay.
1.
Are you open to that?
To what?
1.5?
I guess if we can,
I just look at what we're trying to do here, and it's beneficial to the entire county. I agree 100% with the 10% for cleaning up the county. We're not being heavy-handed. We're not trying to force people. We're trying to help them, and we're doing the same thing with the infrastructure. So I guess my consideration or my ask would be that you at least consider the 1.5. How quick do you need that?
Yeah, we're trying to get this survey done, you know, that's something that the board has asked be done, and so I think the sooner the better.
A week? Put it hard.
Yeah, I can also ask if there's a possibility to look at both of those numbers.
Okay.
have them put the two numbers on the back, on their question. See what people say.
I'll check if that's a way we
I'm
can
open
do
with
it.
that too.
You okay?
Yeah,
With that?
I'm open with that.
I mean, they may want 1.5. They see what we're gonna do with it, just long as they make sure they explain what we're gonna do in those questions.
Well, I just,
I think
like
that's the
I
biggest
said,
thing.
I'm just looking at the conversations we're having weekly, and the list continues to grow, and I'm like, so, okay. The consideration is at least there. We'll ask the question, and then I guess we'll go from there. So the survey, you can move that forward then. Got it? All right. Anything else? Because I think I'm pushing my time. All right, the only thing I have is, Vicki did ask me to remind everybody publicly for our cleanup days and the reminders to help keep the lines moving safely and efficiently during the cleanup days. First of all, be patient. We are expecting long lines and extended wait times, so please be patient. 2, follow the instructions from the landfill staff at all times. 3, sort your trash before you arrive to speed up the unloading and reduce delays for everyone. Separate household trash, e-waste, tires, recyclables, green waste, etc. So if you have a bunch of tires, don't mix that with the regular trash and rubbish. Keep that so that we can keep the lines moving forward. If you're inside the gate at 4 p.m., you will be allowed to unload. If you are not inside the gates at 4 p.m., you will need to return another day. This is going to be for 2 days. And there is absolutely no commercial or business waste. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to work for the residents of Montezuma County. You'll be asked to provide proof of residency in Montezuma County, so just basically a driver's license, which shows your address. If you use the services of a rented roll-off dumpster, you must accompany the provider to unload, and no exceptions. So, say, Heath, you need a 20-yard dumpster because you have a whatever. Just accompany that. So obviously you're responsible for the dumpster, but we will take care of the tipping fees. No household hazardous waste, liquids, appliances with Freon, batteries, oil, or other banned waste. Please see the county website for a complete list. And lastly, You know, we're just hoping that everything runs smoothly, so if you guys follow these instructions, hopefully it will work out very, very well. And the landfill, you know, is asking for everyone's cooperation. Be patient, and we'll get through this as quickly as possible in those 2 days. But if you have it separated, it's going to make things a lot easier. So with that, we have come to the end of our agenda. And we will be reconvening in 10 minutes for an actual special BOCC meeting. So I will close this agenda, and we are recessed.